sense of really when someone says we're hiring junior developers, what does that mean? What are they looking for someone to come and work with them? And, you know, one of the points he gives is to share code. To share some code before the interview so that they can look at that code and they can talk about it and get a sense of how you think about problems. They're not looking for the most perfect code on the planet, but they're looking for an idea that you know how to take a problem and use problem-solving techniques to generate a solution. So, and you'd be surprised how many people show up at an interview and they don't even have code to share. And a lot of people, if you don't have some way for them to see some code you've written, then they won't give you time to interview. So sharing some code, and the sort of the standard today is using tools called Git and GitHub. And pretty much a standard requirement for a developer is to really understand how to do version control. Git and GitHub are the most popular by far, but version control is very important. Do you guys know what version control is? Okay. So if I had a file on my drive and I made an edit to it, and you had access to that file, and then you made an edit to it and overwrote my changes, right? When I go and open that file, I'm not going to see my text, I'm going to see your text, right? When developers work together, they work on teams, and that's a very painful problem, right? If you just wrote the solution and then somebody else comes behind you and overwrites it and breaks it, it can be very frustrating. Have you ever had that happen before?
I've only built programs for myself. So.
Okay. Have you, well, I'll get to that later. But can you imagine if you don't have some sort of process, how difficult it could be for multiple people to work in the same app?
Yeah. I can imagine a bunch of stuff just happens because a bunch of people just working on one thing. Somebody could be taking it one direction, and then somebody takes it out completely. But I'm guessing version control is sort of like a way to roll back to a previous version of the program.
Yeah, it's a way to sort of track changes and who made each change, right? So that when you might go into the app and you're like, I wonder how that happened, you can actually see who did it, what the change was, and why, right? But learning how to do that, and you take version control, and people can work on different features at the same time of an app, and then check them in together. And it'll merge everything in for you. So you'll hear this term merge, where it takes your feature and my feature, and it puts it in together, and everybody plays nice. The reason we have files and folders is not, from a code standpoint, it's not for the computer, right? It's for humans. Because humans have to have everything organized. If the computer had its way, it would say, just put everything in one big file, right? And only use 0 or 1. Nothing else, right? Yeah, that would be kind of hard to manage from a human standpoint. Another point is soft skills. I really don't like this term, but that's what they use. So when you talk about hard skills is I know how to write code. I know how to take a problem and solve it. Do you have an idea of what soft skills are?
Soft skills would be like communicating with teammates, how you deal with problems as they come up, and more or less dealing with personal issues within the workspace.
Yeah, that's a good example. And again, because so writing software at scale is really, really hard. The tools appear to make it easy, but if you don't have those foundations and you don't have a way to communicate to other people that are also working on the same problem, it can be very, very difficult. Like you said, all the apps that you wrote or you've worked on have just been yourself. that's kind of cool because if you get in an argument, you're just talking to yourself, right? And